Hello students, in this chapter of metal and non-metals, we have already done the introduction part in which we have discussed the occurrence of metals and non-metals in various form, that is combined or fixed form. So now in this video we are going to discuss about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So one by one we are going to take the physical properties. So first is the physical state in which these metals and non-metals are available. So remember, metals are generally solid at room temperature. So maximum metals are solid in state at room temperature. But yes, we are having exception in this case, that is of mercury. So mercury is a metal which is liquid at room temperature. But normally the non-metals occurs in all these states. It may be solid, it may be liquid, or it may be gaseous in state. So this is the first difference between the metals and non-metals. Second property is the property of malleability. So this is the property in which metals can be hammered into the sheets. So this is the property of metals, whereas non-metals cannot be hammered. So here you can see the red hot high iron is basically converted into the various forms by applying force. So this is malleability. Whereas non-metals, they are very non-malleable and these are also known as brittle. So this is the property that non-metals are brittle in nature. So they will break into the pieces when it will be beaten. So like this, if you are going to apply pressure onto the coal, so coal is carbon which is non-metal, so it will break into the powder form like this. So this is not non-malleable property, so this is brittleness of the non-metals. Now we can discuss the other property, that is the ductility. So this property of the metal, in which metal can be drawn into wire, so they can be changes into the wire shape. So like this is the copper metal which can be converted into the thin wire. So this is the property of ductility. So metals are basically ductile, so because of this property only, whereas non-metals are non-ductile. So again, due to brittleness, they cannot be drawn into the wire. Similarly, the next property is the conductivity. So conductivity is the property in which metals generally can transfer heat from them and even electricity also if passed through them. So they are good conductor of heat and electricity. So normally this is the activity which we have already seen in the lower classes also. The metal rod, as you can see, normally you can use copper rod. So if you are going to apply heat with the help of burning candle, so this heat is going to travel along this metal rod, and these small needles pasted with these brad needles with the wax, so they are going to fall down because of the heating effect. So this is going to show you how heat is conducted through the metal, whereas non-metals are basically bad conductor of heat and electricity. But there are some exceptions, like graphite is non-metal which is good conductor of electricity. So this is about the physical property of conductivity of metals and non-metals. Next property is the luster. Luster means to say the shiny appearance. So normally metals are shiny, they are having good luster, they are lustrous like gold, like platinum, like silver, so they are lustrous, even copper. Whereas non-metals are very dull in appearance, so like sulfur, like carbon, so very dull in you can say shine. Next property, one more thing is there. Iodine is an exception which is a non-metal, but it is having a good shine. So remember this thing. Yes, one another property is the strength of the metal or non-metal. So normally metal are having good strength. They are having high tensile strength, and because of this, it is used in making of various machineries and various bridges like this. So this iron bridge is basically, why it is of iron? Because iron is having great tensile strength. And even machineries is also, so iron is iron, steel, these are the kind of metal or alloy which is used for making this kind of things. And yes, Non-metals are very weak and low in strength. Same time, there is one more property of the metal which is totally different from the non-metal, that is the sonorous. This is the sonorousness. So this sonorousness is basically the property of producing ringing sound. So normally the bells, the gongs which are used in the temples, so these are basically made up of metals. So why? Because metals are sonorous. So they are producing ringing sound when we are going to hit hammer onto it. So same time non-metals are non-sonorous. So what kind of sound if you are going to have this sound? So it will be a sound of ringing like this. So this is the sound which is going to produce when we are going to hit this metals. This is the ringing sound. Okay, now there is one another property, that is the hardness. So normally metals are very hard, not easy to cut. Like there are various metals like iron, like copper. So these are very hard. But there are exceptions, that like sodium and potassium, which are very soft kind of metal. They can be cut easily with the help of knife. Same time, non-metals basically soft in nature, but exception is there like diamond. Diamond is very hard material. Remember this thing, which is non-metal. Okay. One more property is about melting and boiling point. So this property is related with the normally metals have high melting point and boiling point also. So but the thing is, again, sodium and potassium are very low melting and boiling point. So remember, metals are having high melting and boiling point. So this is the property. Same time, non-metals have low melting point and low boiling point. So this is the case. But the exception is again here, that is graphite and diamond. So both of them is having high melting point and high boiling point. So remember this. Now we are going to discuss this property, that is the specific gravity. So this property is basically, in case of metal, it is high. So that means metals are having high specific gravity, whereas again the exception is there, that is sodium and potassium. So as compared to other metals, so the specific gravity of the metal, that is sodium and potassium, is low as compared to other metals. So specific gravity is basically a word which is somewhat related to the density part of the metal and non-metal. And non-metals have generally low specific gravity. So remember this. So this is all about the physical property. In the next video we can have the chemical property of the metals and non-metals.